So we've had top 5 best beers of 2024. It's good stuff, but just as interesting, certainly for myself, are the worst beers of 2024. Here they come. Next, Scott reviews things. Hello again and welcome back to Scott Reviews Things. Hope you're all keeping really well. Hope you've had a lovely Christmas and the Twixmas. It's Sunday morning here on Scott Reviews Things. Done an 8-mile run and have decided to do the partner video of the top 5 beers of the year. I'll give it a top. Number 1 was Wagon Pitch. So do it in 2 sections. So Untappd, use Untappd quite a lot, like Pokemon Go of beers. So you tag you know how it is. Social media beer reviews. So yeah, anything that's not done on the channel, top 5, and then the stuff that's done on the channel, top 5. Best beer off channel last year was Space Shake from the chocolate Space Shake from Mackay Brewery in Portsmouth. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Best beer on the channel by a country mile for me, Wagon Pitch from Elusive Brewing and Duration, because it did everything that I want a West Coast IPA to be doing. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed those beers. Had some good beer last year, but you're not here for the good beer, you're here for the utter shit that I've taken a look at, and I'm interested to know what's your worst beer bin of 2024. Last year's worst beer was anything by Glencannick, but I think they've sort of folded in that they don't put stuff into Home Bargains anymore, and obviously I think they're a subsidiary of Glen Africa. I've just never had a decent beer from them. In the past, twice as shite from the Hop Foundry. Generally anything from the Hop Foundry has been awful. Just been some god-awful stuff. But you're not interested in what's happened before. Let's happen what's happened this year. So start off with the top 5 beers that haven't made it to the channel but have been on Untappd. So anything ranked from fucking nothing up to about 1.5, maybe 2. I've got 5, obviously, because it's a top 5, but I've got 3 honourable mentions as well. I like giving an honourable mention to good beer, and let's do it the same way. Let's give an honourable mention to shit beer as well. So first honourable mention on the Untappd check-ins, not chickens, that's something completely different, is from Vault City, and it was their Mini Mars, but with a star, because obviously they don't want to be sued, stout, which I just thought was horrible. It's not, no, that's not true. It wasn't terrible, and actually at the time I thought, do you know what, that's not bad. But as the more I got into it, basically it was Wandas. I was trying some of Wandas, but with Untappd you get to check in tasters and things like that. So tried the Vault City Mini Mars, didn't think it was terrible, but I thought it was slightly disappointing. And as well, slightly disappointing, probably like this video, but as it warmed up, it became a little bit like drinking cough syrup for me, and just not particularly nice cough syrup. Not that I go around drinking a great deal of cough syrup, you will understand, but yeah, just not the greatest beer that I've had this year. And I've looked through my check-ins and it's ranking in there, so that's why it's made the honourable mentions. So honourable mention number 1, Mini Mars from Vault City. Honourable mention number 2, you may have seen the video, it's Barry the Bastard's favourite beer of the year. It's Dark and Wild from Northern Monk and a multitude of other breweries, Neon Raptor and a couple of others, and it was a Black Forest Gatto stout. I bought Barry in good faith 2/3 of this beer, and I've got some notes up here, and Barry hated it. And I just think that's insulting. Absolutely insulting. So go back and watch the Barry Hates His Beer video and you'll see the beer I'm on about. Because I didn't, technically I've cheated on this one, but I just wanted to get this one in. Fizzy Benelin, the Black Forest Garretto Stout. I thought it was horrible. It wasn't for me. Wanda said she didn't mind it, but no one drank it. It sat on the bar, and I think it ultimately probably went down the sink. So honourable mention number 2 is Dark and Wild from it's Northern Monk and Neon Raptor and a few other people, and it was their Black Forest Gatto Stout, which was it was just utter crap. Honourable mention number 3 comes. We went to a beer judging night at the Brewers Tap where they did a lot of Christmas beers with food review Portsmouth. I got that wrong. Jimmy, if you watch this, I apologise. Food review guide, some Portsmouth food review guide, something like that. And one of the beers in there, it was horrible, and it was called the Cult of Ardunia from Holy Goat Brewing, and it was a Flanders red ale. Basically, I think I described it as alcoholic vinegar. I know Flanders Reds have that sort of certain vibe about them, or can have that certain vibe about them. It just wasn't for me. It was nasty, sharp, tangy. I drank it. Of course I drank it, you know, you got it, wouldn't you? But yeah, just a dreadful style of beer. Not one of my favourite styles. I haven't had a huge, maybe if I had more alcoholic style vinegar beers, then I would become more accustomed to this style of beer, but it just wasn't for me. Yeah, not for me, I'm afraid. So honourable mention number 3 is the Cult of Ardunia from Holy Goat Brewing, their Flanders red ale, alcoholic vinegar. Some people might like alcoholic vinegar, and if you do, go and try a Cult of Ardunia. It's about £20 a bottle, I think, so you better like it. So that's the 3 honourable mentions out of the way. Now we get to the top 5. The top 5 worst beers I've tagged in on Untappd this year. Or just the 5 beers I hated the most. Number 5, and this beer, I don't think I've got it anymore. No, I haven't got the can anymore. This beer used to be good, and that can apply to the brewery as well. So the brewery is Tiny Rebel, and the beer is Welcome to the Party, Pal, and it's their Snowball IPA. Now, when I saw this, I thought, me and Wanda did this. It might have been in the first year of the channel. Wanda Beer Wonder. Scott Reviews. No, I've missed one out there. Scott and Wandas World. We did it around Christmas time, and it was really good. It was a really good beer. It was 6 point something percent ABV at the time. Really creamy mouthfeel, coconutty, pineapple-y. It was really good. Really good citrusy, really nice citrusy, really good beer. So when excuse me, when I saw it in the brewer's tap in the fridge, I thought, okay. And then I saw the ABV and I thought, you're taking a piss now. So it used to be 6 point something percent ABV. It's now 4.8% ABV. I thought, well, all right, something's gone amiss here. So I poured it out, and it was once half decent beer. This would make Bruce Willis piss his fucking pants in anger, this beer. It is absolutely shit. God awful. And I don't mean shit, I mean properly shit. I mean, what the hell is wrong with Tiny Rebel? Once poster boys for British craft beer, now adjunct heavy rubbish. And so they've reduced it by about 2% ABV. The body's gone, the taste is gone, the ABV's gone. It's a shame the fucking can didn't go. I should have gone in the bin. I'm sure I haven't got the can. And then we went to put some money in for a raffle at the Brewer's Tap, and you could have won one of these. I'm like, I'm fucking winning that. It's going back. It's fucking rubbish. So number 5 in the top worst beers that I've checked in on Untappd this year. Welcome to the Party, Pal, from Tiny Rebel. If you see it, or if someone bought it for you, they hate you. It's that bad. Number 4 in my worst beers that I've checked in on Untappd is from a brewery I don't think I've ever had anything else from. We were in the Lawrence Arms, a pub that does some half decent craft beer actually, and I went up to the bar and I can't remember, I'd had something before it. I can't remember what I'd had before it, and it had underwhelmed me. I thought, yeah, I'm going to try something different, and they had a honey porter on cask. I thought, that sounds quite nice, and it was called Bumble Duck from a brewery called Elephant School Brewing Company. Now, I haven't made a note to where Elephant School Brewing Company are, but don't, if this is on tap, don't go. I'm not trying to put a company out of business, but it was basically a disappointment in a glass. Advertising it as a honey porter, there was no honey whatsoever. It was thinner than my personality, and it was just awful. Slightly roasty, unspeakably bad. I don't like having to go to breweries, but that was fucking terrible. Just, I don't get it. You're classing something as honey, and I went back and had a look at some of the other people's check-ins, and everyone said the same. No honey. So I don't get it. So yeah, Bumble Duck Honey Porter from Elephant School Brewing is my number 4 worst beer I've checked in on Untappd. Number 3. I say a lot of good things about Elusive Brewing in Finchampstead. I don't think I've ever been particularly harsh on the beer, because generally their beers are pretty good. Not this one. This one was dreadful. So number 3 from Elusive Brewing was Woodstock, that American East Coast IPA thing. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. No redeeming features whatsoever from this beer. I just thought it was absolute crap. Thin, not particularly, nothing stood out in this beer at all. I've gone back and had a look at my check-in on Untappd. It was nondescript. I haven't even gone into, I was probably that pissed off, because I generally really like Elusive Brewing, but I've got to be honest, you have to be honest here, because people say, oh, all you do is praise Elusive Brewing. Nah, no. If it's shit, I'm going to tell you it's shit. And Woodstock from Elusive Brewing is proper shit. Properly rubbish. Absolute garbage. I can't remember if Barry had it or not. Oh, he had it before me, and he said it was shit as well. So yeah, you've got to be fair. You've got to be honest, and I just thought it was crap. So number 3 worst beer of the year from one of my favourite breweries. Do really good West Coast IPAs. Just stick to them, because that was fucking terrible. Number 2. Oh, now we get to the real shit, because these next 2, I was tossing up between the 2, which was going to be the fucking worst, because these are dreadful. Number 2, and I had a taster. I tried a taster of it. It was on the brewer's tap, on keg. I thought, I think Wanda wanted to try it, and I tried some of it as well. It was fucking minging, and it was Minty Breath from Playbrew. Mint stout, mint chocolate stout. It was alcoholic toothpaste. That's the best way I could probably describe Minty Breath. Alcoholic toothpaste. Unspeakably shit beer. Now, Playbrew do some half decent beer, but very, again, like Tiny Rebel, quite adjunct heavy. And mint in a stout can work, but not like that. It's like a little bit like orange in an IPA can come across quite soapy. Sorry, not in an IPA, in a stout can come across quite soapy. Obviously mint and chocolate goes very well together. In that, it was awful. I mean, I say alcoholic toothpaste is the best way I could describe Minty Breath from Playbrew. I've had some half decent beers from Playbrew. That wasn't even half decent. It wasn't even a quarter decent. It was fucking rubbish. Absolute god awful shite. So yeah, number 2, Minty Breath, mint chocolate stout from Playbrew is my number 2. This brings me to number 1. Number 1. Oh, let's recap. Number 5 Welcome to the Party, Pal from Tiny Rebel, the Snowflake. That's something completely different. Snowball IPA. Number 4, Bumble Duck Honey Porter from Elephant School Brewing Company. Number 3, Woodstock East Coast IPA from Elusive Brewing. Number 2, Minty Breath Chocolate Mint Stout from Playbrew. Which brings me to number 1, my worst beer I've checked in, tasted, just awful. It's one Wanda wanted to try again. It might have been on the same day that we did I had the Bumble Duck. It was in the Lawrence Arms in Portsmouth. It's from Brew York, and it's their custard cream pale ale. I like a custard cream. I don't mind a pale ale. This custard cream and this pale ale was a disgrace of a beer. I'm not beating about the bush. This is fucking awful. It was awful. Didn't really get the custard cream. It was more like a vanilla essence additive to the beer. Nasty, thin. Wanda didn't mind it, to be fair. I'm going to be completely truthful. Wanda didn't mind it. I thought it was an abortion of a beer. Just terrible. If it had the characteristics of a custard cream, I could, like slightly biscuity as well, because that's what you want from a custard cream. I love a custard cream. It's one of those biscuits you have, and you can't just have one. You have the old fucking packet. Not that. It was dreadful. I can't remember if I had a can. Or did she have a can? Can't remember. It was awful. Absolutely terrible. No redeeming features of the custard cream pale ale from Brew York at all. The can was shit. The beer in it was shit. The price was shit. It was shit. Just fucking rubbish. I'd be interested if anybody else has had it and knows or agrees how shit it was, because it was shit. I think that about sums that up, really. It was god awful and insulting and an absolute travesty of a beer. So I think I'll give it 0.25. I didn't unrate it. I gave it 0.25. I should probably actually change that to unrated, because I can. So yeah, 5, Welcome to the Party, Pal, Bumble Duck number 4, Woodstock number 3, Minty Breath number 2, and the Custard Cream from Brew York, my worst beer, checked in on Untappd this year. Which brings me to the beers that I've reviewed on Scott Reviews Things. Right, obviously I've got some honourable mentions. I've got to start with the honourable mentions, and I've got 3. But 2 are more or less the same. I don't think I've got the bottles. They already gone in the bin. So the first honourable mention for worst beer I've reviewed on the channel is this. This in it. The Bully Beer Game On Session Lager. Absolutely love Bullseye. They brought it back with Freddie Flintoff. I didn't mind the episode, if I'm honest. I had Luke Littler on there, because Luke Littler's on everything. He'd be in the sheds. Wait, probably won't be. But he's on everything. But I quite liked it. Like the glass. I think the glass is up in the back bedroom. I actually bought it for the glass, knowing the beer was going to be shit. And to be fair, it didn't let me down. Brewed by Freedom Brewery, and we're going to get to Freedom a little bit later on. Out of Staffordshire. Great glass. Shocking lager. Insulting to Jim Bowen, if I'm honest. If this was the star prize, you give it to your partner that was thick as pig shit and couldn't throw a dart for toffee. That's how bad it was. So yeah, first honourable mention, the Bully Beer from Freedom Brewery. I got that out of B&M. I think it was a Christmas pack. Again, if someone's bought you that, just fucking dump the beer. Glass is great. It's not a tankard. It's not a Bully tankard or a Bendy Bully. That would have been even better. Second honourable mention, I'm going to do them both. We're both in Lidl at the same time. It was the Warrior and the Patriot beers. I'm not going to go too much into them. I thought they were fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. I think they were brewed in Hungary. One was an IPA, I think one was an American Pale Ale or American, I can't remember what they were, what round they were. But basically, I think one was brewed at a high ABV and the other one was a watered down version. I thought they were crap. Absolute crap. They're on the channel. If you're that interested, go and watch them. If you see them, if they're still about, don't bother. So we get to the actual top 5. Top 5 worst beers I've reviewed on this channel in this godforsaken year. Godforsaken year. I've lost 3 stone. So it has been a bad year. Number 5 wasn't necessarily the worst beer I've had this year, but for the price I paid for it, I think I got rid of it. For the price I paid for it, yeah, underwhelming. And it was the Cloudwater Double IPA version 16. £8 plus I paid for that. I had some vouchers for, I think I had vouchers for Christmas. I had about £50 worth of vouchers or something like that, £30 worth of vouchers for Christmas, £20, whatever it was, and bought, I thought, you know, I'm going to splash out some money on some nice, hopefully some nice beer. I'd heard good things about the dipper version, other versions. Picked this one up, and it was just a bit nondescript. So much so that friend of the channel, Mike Nixon, got contacted me saying that he loved Cloudwater, and could he send me a can of Chubbles? I've got the Chubbles can somewhere. A can of Chubbles as a make good on the reputation of Cloudwater, and to show they can make. Now I know Cloudwater can make some really decent beer. For me, version 16 double IPA wasn't one of them. It was thin, underwhelming, and for the price I paid for it, that's why it makes the top 5 of the worst beers of the year. I did the same with the Punk IPA at 15, because when you're spending a large amount of money and you're not getting your bang for your buck, I think that needs calling out. And I had looked through some of the reviews after I'd done the version 16, and a lot of people were disappointed with it as well, so it wasn't just me. So number 5, and the worst beers that I've reviewed this year, Cloudwater Dipper version 16. Number 4 in the worst beers of the year. It's not as bad. It wasn't as bad as other years, but it's still bad. And it was the Love Lane Christmas Pudding Stout. Vanilla custard Christmas pudding stout thing from Home Bargains. Obviously, Home Bargains, Love Lane were going bust. I think Home Bargains, TJ Morris, they bought Love Lane, and that's why you see a lot of Love Lane beers now in Home Bargains. And there have been different versions of this beer. One was by Glencanick, I think, and the other one was by the Micro Brew thing. So they're not necessarily all the same beer, but obviously we get a Christmas pudding stout every year in Home Bargains. They're all fucking terrible. All terrible. Unspeakably bad. Spicy Coke. Thin. Overly spiced. If you got it as a Christmas present, they hate you. Simple as that. So number 4 in the worst beers of the year on the channel, Love Lane's Christmas Pudding Stout. Fucking terrible. Number 3, let's just move this up so I can see the last 3. Number 3 in the worst beers of the year, and you're going to see a little bit of a pattern going there. Number 3 in Aldi. It was from Williams Brothers. They came out, there was 2 beers at the same time. This one was the worst. It was Rockahula Tropical Brute IPA. I didn't see it was a Brute IPA when I picked them both up, and I cannot stand Brute IPA. It is an absolute abhorrent. I mean, who thinks putting fucking champagne yeast in a beer is a good thing? It makes it as dry as arseholes. When I picked it up, I didn't realise that. I thought, well, I'll make a video. And it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Why are we still persevering making Brute IPA is utterly beyond me. Dreadful shit. Dry, nasty. That gives you that sensation in that. Horrible. Horrible. And for me, Brute IPA isn't great anyway. And this, wherever it is on the screen, is the absolute worst. Just awful. Camel piss in a glass. Rockahula. I suppose technically around fucking Elvis. Elvis would be spinning in his grave. Utter shite. Number 3, worst beers of the year, Rockahula from Williams Brothers up in wherever they are in Scotland. And actually, Williams Brothers do some half decent beer, so they should be fucking ashamed of themselves for that absolute fucking travesty of a beer. Be a lot of swearing in this video, I do apologise. Number 2. We get to the real shit again now, and I didn't know which way this was going to go either. Number 2 in the worst beer I've reviewed on the channel this year. It's the Wanky Fruit beer from Aldi. Misfits Wonky Fruit beer. So we're going to chuck all the wonky fruit that no one wants into a beer, which, as a sustainability thing, I don't have a problem with in the great scheme of things. But when it's this bad and done this badly, then I have a problem with it. From the Hop Foundry again. Yay! Brewed by Freedom Brewery. Again, I made a comment earlier because they brewed the Bully beer. Never had a decent beer from Freedom Brewery. If you have, then leave a comment and tell me which one to pick up, because I'll generally be interested to pick up a beer from Freedom that is halfway decent, because the Wanky Fruit beer is absolutely disgraceful. Untappd. Who thinks this beer is acceptable? Because as a craft beer drinker, although I've cut down enormously, if I was to go in, say somebody's never tried a craft beer, they walk into Aldi and they're looking around and they say, oh, Wonky Fruit beer, Misfits, oh, that sounds quite good. They open it up and it's fucking terrible. That puts them off for life. So some of this stuff now, and Northern Monk are guilty of this with some of the shit they're peddling out, that you're almost pushing people away from the industry by brewing this crap. Because craft beer isn't cheap. This stuff is cheap, and there's a reason it's cheap. It's garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. And so where you've got the possibility to bring people in and steer them away from macro stuff, and you present them with this fucking rubbish, you've got nowhere to go with it. Unacceptably bad beer. The Wanky Fruit beer. Hop Foundry, Freedom Brewery, number 2 on my worst beers of the year, so it's not even the worst. So number 5, Cloudwater Double IPA version 16. Number 4, Love Lane's Christmas Pudding Stout. Number 3, Rockahula from Williams Brothers, the Tropical Brute IPA. Number 2, the Wanky Fruit beer from Aldi, the Misfits Hop Foundry. Which brings me to number 1, the most insulting beer of the year. I think they was 2 or 3 came out at the same time. I only picked up one of them, and I'm glad. I'm absolutely glad. My worst beer I've reviewed on this channel this year, again from the Hop Foundry in Aldi, so you're seeing a pattern, and it was a strawberry daiquiri beer. I don't think anybody put their name to this beer brewery wise, and I think that says more than anything else, more than I could ever say about the beer. Because if you're not prepared to put your name on the beer, it means you don't want to be associated with that beer, and for good reason. It's shit. And can you blame them? Well, yeah, you can blame them, because they've actually brewed it, peddling it out to the masses, thinking it's going to sell well, and it probably did sell well, because people are thinking, fucking hell, strawberry daiquiri beer. Going back to what I've just said about the Wanky Fruit beer, they're probably thinking, oh, that sounds quite good, and it isn't. It isn't. Synthetic strawberry, horrible fucking astringent bitterness, an absolute insult, an insult to you and to me and to everybody else that drinks half decent craft beer. And generally, that's what the Hop Foundry have become. This all-encompassing name from Aldi, where you get smaller breweries that sometimes put their name to it, and other times they don't, because it's fucking insulting. Unspeakably bad beer, the strawberry daiquiri beer. And I didn't realise I was going to go on such a rant about it, but it's becoming an insult now, where you've got an industry that is on its knees trying to come up a bit. They're being taxed to fucking hell and high water. They've got trying to bring new people in, and when people see this shit on the shelves, it's not going to help. So there are some decent breweries around that brew, and there's still, and actually some half decent beers in Aldi. But when they bring in stuff from the Hop Foundry, 9 times out of 10, the toast beer, it was okay, but again, it's insulting. It's an insult to me, and it's an insult to you. And I'm getting a bit fed up with it now. If I'm honest, gone off on a bit of a rant, and I didn't really mean to do that. I was trying to make this sort of light-hearted. But yeah, the worst beer I've had this year, and the more I thought about it, the strawberry daiquiri beer from the Hop Foundry. Who brew it? Fuck knows, because they haven't got the Kona, so bollocks to put the fucking name to it. That's how insulting it is. So yeah, that's my beers, worst beers of 2024. What's your worst beer of the year? Is there one that's really stuck out in your mind? What's worse, strawberry daiquiri beer, or what was the other one? The cream pale ale, custard cream pale ale. Oh, that's a tie. They're both dreadful, absolutely dreadful beers, and taking us for mugs in some ways. And who's the mugs? Them for brewing it and selling it, or us for parting way with our hard-earned money to try it? Good question, isn't it? Probably me and you. I try and review the beer so you don't have to. Shell out my hard-earned money so you don't have to either. I'm not a beer expert. I've never professed to be, but I like to have a bit of fun as well, which hopefully that's come across in this video. Those are my 5 beers that I've absolutely hated on Untappd and on the channel this year. What are yours? Leave a comment in the comments box below. If you've had some of these beers and you disagree with me, then by all means let me know, because that's quite interesting as well. There's a thumbs up, there's a thumbs down if you like or dislike the video. That's entirely up to you as well. And all that's left to say is, I don't know if this is going to be the last one before New Year. Could be, who knows. Sunday today. Not doing a lot today. Watching football on telly. See you soon.